Welcome to Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. Thank you so much for joining us. Glad you're here with us. You're in for a very special treat. We have Rabbi David Bassous, and he has some great ideas to help us as women. It's a challenging time. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here, Rabbi.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay. So I'll start with a question, which is you started before to say that it's hard to be a woman today. Maybe you could expound on that. I want to hear. We know that.
I'm specifically talking about Jewish women, because I think there's many more challenges than ever before, probably in our history, probably. And let's start with some of them. So first of all, if you want to make it like a chart, the woman is right in the middle of the chart, and she's pulled in different directions. There's a Hashem pulling in one direction. There's a job pulling in the other direction. There's the children pulling in one direction. The spouse is pulling in the other direction. And there's parents pulling in different directions. So this woman is being pulled in different ways. And she has to know how to adjust her life and balance her life so that she doesn't topple over, basically. And this is something which, this is a challenge. This is one of the challenges. And I think the challenges are increasing because of the media, and because of society, the divorce rates and the shalom bayit issues and lack of spouses, lack of proper marital guidance. And this is one of these are major problems today that we never had before in our history. And then we have, on top of that, we have the challenges from the outside world, the anti-Semitism around us and other things going on around us, which are really have changed society in the last year or two tremendously. So there's different challenges in life, but we know that Hashem gave women, he gave them extra bina. He gave them extra intuition. When the Torah says, Vayiben Hashem et hatzela, Hashem built up the selah, he built up that rib of Adam or whatever it was, and the word used is bina, Vayiben. And so Hashem gave women bina yeseira. When I think of a Jewish woman, I think of this bina yeseira. And I also think of another thing, which is in Eshet Chayil, we praise the wife on Friday nights. And Shlomo Melech says, "Betorat Chesed al leshona." She has a Torah of Chesed on her tongue, and these are the things which we have to really inculcate in our daughters and our women. Is the bina yeseira, to think ahead, to think in terms of out of the box, and how to apply different things into our lives, and also to have that Torah of Chesed, to have the way of speech, which is a way of Chesed, acting in a way of Chesed. We know all our mothers. Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah all had these traits of bina, and they also had the trait of chesed. So two very important, I would say, these are two most fundamental traits of the Jewish woman, I think, in terms of building it up and making it part of the character, is the bina yeseira and the chesed. But obviously the whole life of a woman is all chesed, because she's trying to raise children, that's chesed. She's trying to help her husband, that's chesed. So the whole life of the woman is all to do with chesed, all to do with kindness. And Gimilut Chasadim is one of the three pillars on which the Jewish world rests. As Rabbi Gamliel says, the world rests on three things: Torah, Avodah, and Gimilut Chasadim, which is really the Magen David. The triangle of the Magen David is Torah. Torah means, what is Torah telling us? Torah is telling us to weigh who we are. By the light of the Torah, we can measure ourselves. That's the Torah. The Torah is inward. And then there's Avodah, which is reaching upwards to Hashem, serving Hashem. And there's Gemilut Hasadim, which is reaching outwards. So inwards, upwards, outwards. And then you have the triangle of an individual, and you have the triangle of the family, and the triangle of the community. So there's different, the beautiful idea of the Magen David. It's a triangle, the three different aspects of Jewish life: Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Hasadim. And I think the woman has to be able to balance these things in terms of her lifestyle as well. The Torah is looking inside and saying, what can I do? How can I improve myself? And this is something, again, which is being lost today. The fact that we have this ability to improve, and we have this obligation in Jewish law to improve. And this idea of tikkun starts with ourselves. As Rabbi Yisrael Salanta says, when I was young, I thought I could change the world. When I got a bit older, I said, you know what, I can't change the world. Maybe I can change my city. When I got a bit older, I said, I can't change my city. Maybe I'll change my family. When I got older, I said, I can't change my family. Let me start with myself. And that's really the key. And that's something which we have lost today. This idea of tikkun of oneself, of fixing oneself. So there's a learning musar, working on our traits. And when a person works on their traits, they find that people around them treat them differently. because the way we treat others, that's the way they treat us. The way we look at others, that's the way they look at us. So if we look at others in a way of chesed, of looking at them and saying, what can I do to help you? You'll find all of a sudden, this is really the source of all marital problems, is that we think, the other party doesn't treat us properly. But how do we treat them? If we treat them properly, usually they'll treat us properly. And this is one of the big techniques in personal relationships, interpersonal relationships, is how we treat others is how they're going to treat us. And similarly with our children as well, in terms of how we relate to them with the respect, they'll treat us with respect. So
it's gorgeous. Sorry to interrupt. The understanding that we're going through like you said, the biggest challenges of history, perhaps, or whatever. We would like some practical tools. Now you're saying, maybe it's working on ourselves or whatever, but practical tools for women to, not fall apart. It is a very challenging time, and we are dealing with a lot. And we listen to the news, and it's sometimes it just feels completely overwhelming. Does Rabbi have some practical tools that we can use to dig ourselves, to feel like we're succeeding at this challenge rather than we're just trying to survive?
Well, the first thing to do is have strong roots. We have to strengthen the roots, our own roots in the ground, fertile soil. What is our roots? And the answer is number one is Emunah. Number one is Emunah, which means we have to have faith in Hashem. And that's number one key. The person who has faith in Hashem will find they're never alone. A person who's anywhere in the world and you have faith in Hashem, as David Bassous says in Psalm 23, even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil because you're with me. And this is something which is most appropriate today for Jews facing anti-Semitism around the world. Hashem is with us, and we have to really build on that. And this way a person will be strong despite all the currents around them. That's number one, is Emunah. Number two is a person's got to really believe in the power of prayer. And we have to know that our prayers are effective. And even though it doesn't seem to be effective straight away, a person prays and prays and they knock away and they build a tremendous power of like a battering ram. The rabbis compared prayer to a battering ram. Yaakov Avinu called his prayers Bekashti, my sword and my arrows and my bow and arrows. So his prayers are like battering rams. We have to realize that's number one is Emunah. Build Emunah, solid Emunah on Hashem. Hashem is with us wherever we go. And if I can look back at my life, I can see wherever Hashem interfered and guide me in my life. And everyone has to do that and find out, where did Hashem guide me? And if we ask for guidance, we'll get guidance. If we don't ask for guidance, we'll get guidance. So it's very important. Hashem says in the Torah, it says, Im telchu eti b'keri, afani elechem achem b'keri. If you treat me as if I don't exist, I'll treat you as if you don't exist. So you have two people on a train sitting together. One person is thinking about Hashem, the other person not thinking of Hashem. The person who thinks of Hashem, Hashem is with them. Rambam says that if we think of Hashem, Hashem is with us. If we don't think of Hashem, Hashem is not with us. We create that bond with Hashem by thinking about Him and praying to Him and bring Him into our lives. We have to be able to bring Hashem into our lives. So that is number one key is Emunah. Number two is prayer, the power of tefillah. And that's where a Jew is never alone. And number three is common sense. There's something which is not talked about enough today. Is this idea that Hashem gave us sechel. Hashem gave a person sechel. When I was in yeshiva, they always talked about sechel yashar, straight sechel, having common sense. And this, I was listening to one of the great rabbis, I can't say his name right now, but one of Musa rabbis in the yeshiva, and he said, there's 5 books to the Shulchan Aruch, and everyone knows there's only 4. So he said, what's number 5? Number 5 is common sense, the book of common sense. So we have to use practical. And this is where women are really ahead of the men, is the practical common sense. And it's very important to have that common sense and to have priority.
How does a woman grow that? Because they're totally with you, but it seems like common sense is something you're born with, and that, that's it. You're either lucky or you're not lucky. How does a person grow their own common sense? And
the answer is, number one, is to have some sense of boundaries, very important boundaries. And something, again, which is today being lost in society, boundaries. But got to know what their boundaries are. That's common sense. Can you explain?
Can Rabbi define boundaries and what you mean by, how does that work in practical sense?
The whole Torah is about boundaries. The whole Torah, the laws of kashrut, the laws of lashon hara, all is about boundaries, setting boundaries for oneself and saying, these are things I can work with And these are things outside my boundaries. I'm not allowed to go beyond my boundaries. So that's common sense, is how you deal with people. Where do you draw the lines? Where do you draw the boundaries? That's common sense. So Hashem gave us these inclinations, these instincts, to know where common sense, how far can I go? And sometimes a person doesn't have common sense and does all sorts of crazy things. So it's very important to have that common sense. And the guidelines, the Torah already gives us guidelines, but it doesn't give us guidelines in every single situation. And that's why people have to ask rabbis questions. But most of the questions people ask rabbis, unfortunately, they can answer themselves if they use their common sense. There's a great story. I want to tell you this amazing story.
Okay.
They say, this is Dr. Weinrib, or Rabbi Dr. Weinrib, who was the head of the OU for a long time. And he says this story. If anyone else would have said a story, I wouldn't believe it. He says he was a psychologist in Maryland. And he got an offer from a shul to become the rabbi of the shul. And he didn't know what to do. So what does he do? He calls the Rebbe. He calls the Rebbe in 770, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he says, this is a call. He gets through to the secretary. He said, I need to leave a message for the Rebbe. I'm calling. I'm a psychologist in Maryland. I have an offer from a shul to be the rabbi. I don't know what to do. And he leaves his phone number. He doesn't say his name, leaves his phone number. And he doesn't get a reply. So he calls back the next day. I have a question from Maryland. I'm a psychologist. I want to be a rabbi. They give me an offer to be a rabbi in the shul. What should I do? And the Rebbe this is what he told his secretary. Tell this person to talk to Dr. Weinrib. He said, what? He said, I am Dr. Weinrib. So the secretary, here's the secretary telling the Rebbe. He says, he is Dr. Weinrib. He said, to talk to yourself.
Wow.
So we see there's a lot of questions. Wow. This is a very important idea that today, people ask common sense questions to the rabbi when they have the gift, they have the ability. If a person doesn't have the ability, fine. But people have abilities, and we have to tell our children, you have the ability. This is something which you have to build in self-esteem. This is a real problem today, is lack of self-esteem. And every person's got to believe that Hashem gave me these powers, gave me the intellect to be able to decide things for myself. I just need the guidelines. And the Torah gives us guideposts. It doesn't give us guideposts in every single thing, but it gave us brains as well to be able to take something which is written down and apply it to our daily lives. Take the Torah. That's what the Torah, it's interesting. The whole of Breshit has no laws in it. There's two things. There's Brit Milah, and there's the sciatic nerve. The two laws in the whole of Breshit. Halacha, in the whole, if you look up Sefer HaChinuch, which talks about the mitzvot in the Torah, there's only two mitzvot in the whole of Breshit. So what is Breshit all about? And the answer is, it's teaching us how to behave as human beings. Role models. It's role modeling for us how to behave and how not to behave, how to be a good parent, how to be a good sibling, how to be a bad sibling, and how not to be a bad sibling. So how to be good parents, how to be good children. It's all about human relationships. The whole of Breshit.
So Rabbi is saying this is how we grow our common sense, is to look at the examples of our matriarchs and patriarchs.
As well, yes, as well as all the other examples, all the role models in the Torah. To see how they behaved and how, the commentaries say what they shouldn't have done. It's amazing how their lives are dissected. In the Talmud, the lives are dissected. David HaMelech, we're talking about David HaMelech. Who did he marry? How did he marry? And the lives are dissected to the point where, there's nothing left to your imagination. It's all black and white. And a person can study and study. And there's beautiful books you can read, Ishaya Tanakh, people in the Tanakh. And just read it and go through it and see.
Okay, we're getting so many questions coming in. I'm going to take a question now, Rabbi.
Okay, great introduction, Rabbi. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Rena's asking, I know it's hard to be a woman. Thank you for the acknowledgement. I wish I could get that from my husband, who makes so many demands of me. How can I get him to understand?
I'm just getting to understand it myself. So give him some time. Men need a lot of time. Men need a lot of patience. Men need a lot of patience. But you got to try and explain to your husband how hard it is to deal with all these things at the same time. I mean, just make that chart. Parents, children, husband, spouse, work, family, anything else that's going on in your life. Just make a chart around you. Let's try and make a flow chart or a diagram. And show him these are things I'm pulled in all these directions, and I'm exhausted. I come home, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted physically, I'm exhausted mentally, and I can't cope with all these challenges at the same time. Help me, help me. You know, there's a famous story. It's a great story. It's a great story from Lakewood that, you know, the grandson of the Chavetz Chaim was in Lakewood Yeshiva. And he was always the first one at the minyan. He was always the first one at the minyan. And then all of a sudden, they see him coming later and later every day. And the Rosh Yeshiva calls him in and says, tell me, he says, what happened to you? You used to be the first guy in the minyan in the morning, and now you're coming later and later. You're missing most of the minyan. He said, what can I tell you, Rabbi? He says, every day I pass this house, and there's a woman there with 4 children, and she can't cope. So I stop by and I help the woman. I help her change the diapers, help her feed the children, get them ready for school. And then I come to the minyan, I'm late. So the rabbi says, who is this woman? He said, it's my wife. It's my wife. And this is what we forget. We forget we want to help other people. Chesed starts at home. It's a very, very important idea. She has to tell her husband, chesed starts at home. You know, there's another story that says a man came and complained about his wife. I come home, the house is upside down, the children running around, my wife's on the sofa lying down. What should I do? So the rabbi said, take a broom. He said, what? Take a broom, hit my wife? Said, no, take a broom and clean up.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The problem is men do not see things the same way as women do. Men are blind when it comes to certain things, there's no question. And we have to appreciate what our wives do. And we have to appreciate what the women in our lives do. And this is really a lesson for men. And you have to tell you, it's very hard for the wife herself to tell the husband to appreciate me. It's got to come from a third party. And this is true with disciplining children. Because if the parents discipline the children, you know, the children think, you know, the parents, it's the ego who want to be in control. So it's better always the things that come from a third party and to say stories. And just tell a story of the man, of a story of a woman who's depressed, and what does he think? You know, give a sort of role play or a story which is similar, and ask him what he thinks about the situation, because that's exactly what Natan Hanavi did to David HaMelech. You know, David HaMelech, he sinned terribly. The Torah says, even though the rabbis say it wasn't a sin or whatever it was, and he gave a get to Uriah gave a get to his wife. What happened was that Natan HaNavi, Hashem sends Natan, the prophet, to David HaMelech. And instead of rebuking David directly, Natan tells him a story. There was a rich man and a poor man, and the rich man took the poor man's cow and he gave it to his guest. And David says, kill him. And Natan says, you are the man. So by telling a story or by reading, sharing a book and saying, what do you think about this situation? You can teach people more than direct confrontation. So again, I know a rabbi for many years. Direct confrontation is the worst way to go, and you want to lose the battle and win the war. So it's slow. Drip irrigation works all the time. Drip irrigation works all the time, and this is true with our husbands as well. Try and find nice books and stories that you can relate, or find material. The rabbi's giving drashot. You can say, listen to this rabbi. He looks by Shalom Bayit. You know, it's interesting. I find it interesting. Maybe you'll find it interesting as well. But you complaining and you lecturing is not going to get you very far, because it's just, you're always trying to boss me around.
It's gewaldig. Okay, come with the next questions. I see there's a ton.
Okay, yeah. So Khan is asking, you spoke about bina yeseira, but I feel so overwhelmed with life that I often don't act from this place. I snap and then regret things I say. How can I tap into my bina yeseira more?
So I would say number one is Emunah. Everything comes from Hashem. Emunah gives us sablanut. You know, that's the hardest thing. The hardest thing is to be patient in life. And instead of just snapping back, step back a bit and think, what is the best way to react? Listen, I've learned this over 150 years of the rabbinate. Is just, you don't react straight away. If you react straight away, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. So try and not react. Try not to lose your patience. Sablanut. The word sablanut is interesting in Hebrew. The word sablanut comes from the word sabal. A sabal is a porter, someone with a weight on your back. Because when you have sablanut, you have a weight on your back. People don't like having patience because it's like a weight on your back. And people want to react straight away. But the worst thing you can do is react straight away under stress, because then you're going to regret it later. So step back, take a deep breath, and think about Hashem. Hashem is the greatest. Hashem can bear all my burdens. You know, the famous story, the Chavetz Chaim says that there was a guy hitchhiking, and he was carrying a heavy backpack on his back. And he's hitchhiking in the good old days that you could hitchhike without being murdered. And he's hitchhiking, and the car stops for him, and he gets in the car, and he says, "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving me a ride." He said, "But tell me," he says, the driver says, "why don't you take off the heavy backpack of your back?" He says, "Well, it's enough you're carrying me. I don't want you to burden with my backpack as well." The Chavetz says, "Listen, Hashem is carrying us. He's also carrying our backpack. Give him your backpack as well. Give him all your worries. Give him all your troubles. You won't be so stressed out. Hashem is big enough to handle the whole world and the whole universe, and everyone in it. So give him your burdens. And Bezrat Hashem, your faith in Hashem will pull you through and give you more sablanut. You'll be able to bear the burdens. You won't snap back and try to push. Don't push back. Just walk away and think, what should I do? How should I handle this situation?"
Gewaldig, gewaldig. Okay, Gil, what else you got?
Okay. Sarelli is asking, can the Rav tell me as a woman, what does Hashem want from me the most?
Well, what does Hashem want from all of us? And the answer is, I think, this is my perspective. Number one is we have to remember this life is temporary. And I think about this even more when I'm getting older, you know, life is temporary. And what is our goal in life? And the answer is our goal in life is to get to the next destination. This life is just a corridor. The Mishnah says, this world is just a corridor to the next world. It's like the lobby in the hall. You're going to the hall, you have a wedding, and you want to dress yourself up in the lobby. He says, that's this world. The main world is the world where the party is, and that's the next world. So we have to remember all the time, this world is temporary. So what is my job in this world? I have to try and leave as many good ripple effects. This is what I'm trying to do with my classes as well. I'm sure you try to do the same thing. I'm trying to leave in this world as many good ripple effects as I can. And this should be everyone's mission. Everyone's mission is to leave as many good ripple effects. And the ripple effects will be our students. Ripple effects will be our children. Ripple effects will be all the tzedakah you gave to different yeshivot and different places learning. And they're doing mitzvot with the money you gave, or a gemach, you're helping to send money to a gemach, and they're lending out the money. These are ripple effects. And these are ripple effects that we'll take with us in the next world. We'll take the interest payments in the next world. So what is our mission in this world? The answer is obviously to make ourselves better people. When we make ourselves better people, everyone around us is affected. And I see this in families where one person became a Baal Teshuva, and all of a sudden 5 people in the family became Baal Teshuva. But it's not just the Baal Teshuva, also in terms of midot as well. You become a better person, you'll see your children become better. Your husband will become better. So we have to work on ourselves, and we have to realize that we're here temporarily, and we have to try and do as much as we can and leave as many ripple effects in this world as we can.
Wow. Diana just okay, good. We have time for a few more questions. Go.
Okay, so Malki's asking, for some reason, I find it easy to judge others well, but I find it much harder to do this with my husband. I love him, but I just find it hard to judge him in the same kind way as I judge others. Why is this, and what can I do?
Well, the answer is very simple. The closer you are with someone, the more they get on your nerves. Right? It's very simple. The closer we are with someone, and we study them more, and they get under our skin, and that's it. So it's very, very important to have some kind of mechanism to release the valves. And maybe, I don't know, it's very hard. I'm working, this is something which even rabbis work on. So we have to find a way to get along with each other without fighting, without getting under our skins. And the really truth is all midot, it's all midot. And try and give each other some space in their lives. Not even wants to be sat on all the time. So space, you find things you're good at, find things that your hobbies, whatever it is that you like, and he'll find things he'll like. But to stay home and just fight all the time, that's the worst thing you can do. But I think it all boils down eventually to midot and some marital guidance.
Great, the character traits.
Beautiful. Okay, Chaya Rivka's asking, as a woman, is it better to read self-help books to improve my character than to learn halacha?
Well, you need a combination. This is a very important part, which is one of the challenges in life. And how do I balance things in life? I give many talks on this, how to balance all these different things in life. We're pulled, as I mentioned before, we're pulled in different directions. You got to balance your kids, you got to balance your spouse, you got to balance your parents, you got to balance your job, you got to balance many different things. It's all about balance. So we have to balance. Of course, halacha is important. And of course, hashkafa is important. Of course, musar is important. We have to find a balance. So what is the best balance for you? So it depends on what your weak is at. Whatever your weak is at. So if you're just starting, you never know any halacha, maybe you should learn more halacha. But midot is also very important. So it really depends on what your weak points are. A person should focus on their weak points, not their strong points. The strong points are what gives them self-esteem. But use that self-esteem now to build up your weak points. So everyone has to know, that's common sense. That's where the common sense comes into play. You have to know, I don't know you. You know yourself. You have to decide for yourself, where am I weak in? What do I need more strength in? Some days we're weak in more things. When you're dealing with troublesome people, you need more midot. So some days you have to spend more time on one thing. Some days you have to spend time on the other thing.
Excellent. Okay, go ahead. Gil, we have to, how are we doing, Debbie? One last question.
Okay.
No, we don't have time. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, wow. Well, I can I just ask one? So my question for Rabbi, last question is, to sum up everything, and if there's a homework assignment the rabbi can think of that each one of us can do. We're juggling and managing so many different crazy things. Is there one homework assignment that rabbi can do that can help us both with self-care, or something that's a big hot word today, but something that we can do as homework to strengthen ourselves at this time?
That's a $1 million question, and that's. But what I think is you as the foundation of the family. The woman is the foundation of the family unit. We have to realize that, and it's a tremendous responsibility. It's a tremendous challenge in life. You have to be solid. You have to be rock solid, because you're bouncing all these balls. You're bouncing your husband. You're bouncing your children. You have to be rock solid yourself. So Emunah, work on the Emunah. Work on the fact that Hashem is with you all the time. And Hashem will give you the strength and capability. And number 2 is the power of tefillah. I can't even underestimate the power. Don't never underestimate the power of tefillah. If you reach out to Hashem, we say in our Ashrei every single day, Hashem answers everyone who calls out in truth. Right? So he answers every single person. If you call out truth, Hashem's going to answer you. So when you feel weak, ask Hashem for strength. When you feel like you need more financial help, ask Hashem for financial help. If you need help raising your children, ask Hashem to give you that help, because He's there for you. And remember that. And this way you'll never be weak.
Kol hakavod. Very good, Rabbi. This is gems of wisdom spouting out all over the place. Thank you so much for being here with us. This is Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. Rabbi Hashem should bench you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.